Welcome back. In today's episode, we continue with the series of business events that did not work out the way I wanted them to and the lessons I learned. This year, I've decided to bring the 52 lessons I learned in business, and hopefully you won't have to learn them as well, or at least you don't have to go through them. You can learn them here. Today's lesson concerns the name of your company.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Thor Conklin here. We give you the tricks, the tips, the tools, the strategy, the technology, and the psychology peak performers use in order to get more done and execute at the highest level. If you know what to do but struggle with getting it all done, or simply want to raise your game to the next level, this podcast is for you. Sit back and enjoy. Years ago, I was starting a business with a partner of mine, and we decided, okay, we knew exactly what kind of business we wanted to be in. And then we sat down and started to figure out, okay, what are we going to name this business? Came up with some ideas, and we kind of narrowed it down, and we came up with the one that we wanted. Then the next step is, all right, let's figure out a web address. Let's make sure that that's available. Go to Google, type it in. Nothing shows up. Well, then we still got to go and try to register it and see if someone actually has it but might not be using it right now. So we went through that process, and lo and behold, it was available. Great. So now what do? Now we start creating the website. Now we've got to also put together and register with the state the name of the corporation, whether we're going to do an LLC, LLP, S Corp, C Corp, etc. But we need to register with the state the name that we're going to be using. No problem there. That all went through. Then we've got to design the logo. And then the final step was we wanted to make sure it wasn't registered anyplace else. And we went to TESS, T-E-S-S. And that stands for Trademark Electronic Search System. It's run by the federal government here in the United States. And by the way, I want to mention something here too. Any of these lessons that I'm giving you, I am not acting as an attorney. This is not legal advice. There may be other issues out there that you need to look into. This is simply me telling you the mistakes that I made and how for you to avoid them. In any case, especially in the case that we're discussing today, make sure you hire an attorney and you know exactly what you're getting into and all the legal ramifications in where you're setting up your organization. So, with that said, we do this search on TESS, and we're trying to figure out if anybody else in the country is using this name. And we do the search, and everything looks great. We are about, 2 months, maybe even 3 months into the process of setting up this company. We're raising outside capital, so we have an offering memorandum that's going out to investors, and we're rocking and rolling. And then one day, our attorney brings something up and asks a question that really kind of rattled us. And they asked if we did an advanced search on TESS and were there any other companies that were in a like industry as ours, an IC code. So just to make sure we go back and we check this out and we dig a little bit deeper. So if you're not familiar with TESS and the trademark system, basically, it's there to protect you, the company, so nobody steals your name and starts operating with your name in a similar industry and consumers are confused. And it's also there to protect consumers as well. Now, take Delta, for example. You can't have another airline out there that has Delta's name. That just, right? You get confused. Who's the real Delta, right? Or you can't even get a little cute with it. And what if it was like Delty? Okay, Delty cannot form a airline because it's kind of confusing to Delta. Now, Delta Faucets and Delta Airline, they have the same name. They just go by Delta. But one is in the faucet manufacturing business. The other is in the airline business. So they don't compete with each other. So each of those companies can use the word Delta to describe their company. Hopefully that makes sense. So here's the lesson that I had and what I learned a little too far down the road, and it cost a lot of money with attorneys and basically reversing a lot of the stuff that we had already done. And if my ex-partner's listening, I take full responsibility for this. This was on my end. This is something that I was responsible for. So what we found out was there was another company with the same name that was in a similar type of business. Now, we were setting up a retail operation surrounding insurance and risk management, and there was a company that had the same name. Now, again, not exactly the same name, but the main key name that we were using, the word was Peregrine, okay? Ours was going to be Peregrine, I think Insurance Services, and there was another Peregrine out there that was Peregrine Reinsurance. So we're like, okay, look, it's, they're reinsurers and we're a retail risk management operation. That's certainly not in conflict with each other. Well, that's not what our attorneys said. And we contacted what turned out to be a very large global insurance conglomerate and spoke to their internal lawyers and said, hey, we're setting up this company and we don't really compete with you and no big deal. And they're like, really? Not a big deal, huh? Well, we think it is. I was like, oh no, you got to be kidding me. So we went back, and to be safe, we reversed everything, came up with a different name, and made sure we had no conflict. So here's the lesson, hopefully for you, whether it applies now or in the future in setting up a new company. Make sure you do your due diligence. You do not want to be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years into a venture only to find out that you're infringing on someone's trademark. And if that someone is a large corporation, they're going to have deep pockets to come after you, and it's not going to be pretty. You can do your own trademark filing, costs about $300, or you can hire an attorney to do it for you. Either way, make sure that you're protected. If you want to learn more lessons from peak performers just like yourself, we have a private Facebook group called Peak Performance Nation. You can head over there, and on Fridays, we actually have Failure Fridays, where we share the lessons that we've learned, so hopefully you won't have to repeat those. And also, you'll find tons of information about what they're doing successfully in order to raise their game to the next level. Thank you so much for listening today. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you found today's show valuable. If you would like to receive these shows automatically to your phone or to your computer, simply go to iTunes and subscribe. After listening to several of the shows, if you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating, as this helps us reach additional people and spread the message. If you're truly committed to taking your life to the next level and doing whatever it takes to become a peak performer, but something's holding you back, something is blocking your way, and you just can't seem to figure out what it is, send me an email to info@thorconklin.com, and I'd be more than happy to get on the phone with you. We'll schedule a 15-minute discovery call. No obligation, no cost. I absolutely love to hear from the listeners, and if there's something I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to do that. Also, if you found something of great interest in today's show and you want to share that with your friends and family, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin, click on the episode, hit the share button, and share it on your page. You can follow me at Twitter @ThorConklin. The website is thorconklin.com. We're constantly adding new free resources, discussing additional tricks, tips, tools, and strategies on how to be a peak performer. Remember, I try to keep these episodes short so you can listen to them during dot time, doing other things, commuting, driving, walking, working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.